access the judicial process because of the cost. So here we help them all free of service. Then we have shelters, temporary shelters, when they are thrown out of their houses in dead of night and at all odd times. Sometimes the family also is reluctant to take them, harbor them and take care of them. So they have a place to come and stay with us till we work out a plan. We keep them. We have 3 shelters, Colombo, Amatara and Anuradhapura. We have a helpline where all the people can reach us. So if they cannot come to the crisis center and obtain the services, they can reach us on this helpline. Shall I give the number now?
I'll give the helpline. It's 471-8585. Of course, you're calling from mobile at 011-471-8585.
Right.
Sumitra, by profession, you are a lawyer, so you know your rights as a person, not just as a woman, but as a person, as a citizen of the country.
Yes.
Sadly, not a lot of women and also young ones, children, child know their rights as a person. How are you trying to convince them that, and how are you trying in your own small way, educating women? These are your rights. You have the right to go to a precinct. And like earlier we mentioned that one major hurdle is for the victim to actually go to the police station. Yes. And how is it so far?
Yeah, right. We have programs educating the women on their legal rights and basically all rights, because every person is born with rights. It's not it's an inherent thing, right? But the unfortunate thing is that we are not aware. So we have programs, awareness programs for all stakeholders, like starting from the community level, educating the women and the I'll come to children. Then we go to state sector, because they are the people who are met with by these people who want to complain, like Grama Niladhari, Samudra Niladhari. Low levels who work at grassroots level, then middle level staff, state officials, and higher level state officials. We have programs for the NGOs and for the young adolescents, like children, because they go to the society with this misconception. Sometimes the mothers tend to like give prominence to the male child. So they think even if there is some food, they give the bigger share to the son, and if the son cries or something like that, their roles are demarcated. If the boy cries, they will say, why are you crying like a girl? If the girl jumps up and runs and all that, why are you behaving like a boy? So those are things, myths. So we have to clear those. So we have programs, and also for the children to how they should protect themselves from abuse, because they don't know. We tell them that don't let anyone touch your body, and if there is a problem, like if somebody tries to be funny or whatever, cry, scream or whatever, tell your parents. Like that we educate the children. They have their rights, but they have duties and responsibilities also. So that is one part. Then we have awareness programs in the police. Police have to be, they know the laws, but some of the officers, they are not very conversant, familiar with the latest developments. Like latest amendments, penal code was amended in 1995, 1998, and this law on prevention of domestic violence came into being. It's a very significant law. Some of the officers are not very well conversant with these things. So we have programs for them, and also more importantly, we tell them that it is very essential to be sensitive to the women's and children's issues, to have women friendly, child friendly environments in police stations. That is why women, especially women, are reluctant to go to a police station. I will go because I am a lawyer, but many women don't. When we tell them go and make an entry, they say, no, my God, no, we are very ashamed. And also the treatment they get, they have to wait for long hours till somebody is free. we have these women and children. There's some are not. There are, I think, in most police stations, but sometimes, for example, after 5 o'clock, there's no officer. So there are things, the laws and the procedures are in place, but implementation, there are many gaps which are disadvantages to the woman.
Yeah, well, we have a lot more to talk about, and also a personal question: what made Sumitra pursue this line of instead of going for corporate law where the money is? And that's all. And when we come back, we'll have to take a very short break. More of GMSL after this. Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. We're talking about the gender-based forum, which will kick off on the 25th of the month. Of course, 25th being the International Day on Elimination of Violence Against Women, which will culminate on the 10th of December, which also happens to be International Human Rights Day. And we have with us inside the studio from representing Women in Need is a lawyer by profession, Ms. Sumitra Fernando. So, ma'am, what was the story that made you realize this is what you want to do? You don't want to go into corporate law, you don't want to defend other people, but you want to take care of the women and their needs and go against violence against women. What made you decide on that?
Yeah, well, I was in the corporate sector. I was a director of a blue chip company, and I was in charge of the personnel, that is human resources, and the legal work there of the group. But then I was discriminated to a certain extent because it's human resources is a male dominated field, and perhaps when I joined, I was one of the 2 or 3 women who were in the field, but I at interviews I was not selected because I was a woman, right? And then they gave preference to the males. They said, how are you going to handle the trade unions? But then that time I was determined that I would somehow do my best. So I did. I became the director in that company, and also I became the president of the Institute of Personnel Management, only women's president so far. And I thought I would work for the women and see that their rights are
protected. Okay.
Yeah, there's no discrimination.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that for one thing, one major hurdle is that most of sadly our police officers, authorities don't know the changes that have been made to the penal code, which sadly was in 1990s. You mentioned 1998, 1995. It's 2012, and sadly some of them still don't know the changes. How did you address this? Were they open to listen to the changes, or was it hard convincing them that they need to know these things?
They are sensitive, they are eager to learn, but there was a lot of drawbacks and hurdles. So women in need chipped in, and we support the police. Police, in fact, the in-service training institutes, in fact, they made a request yesterday for us to do a presentation on the laws. So like that we help them. We provide the resource personnel in their programs, and we also conduct programs. Now they are like they're not that they don't know totally. They know, but they sometimes don't know the details of it and the application of the law, and they lack this. Above all, they lack the sensitivity. So that is why we chip in and we help them to fill that gap.
Then before we run out of time, we have roughly like 2 minutes to go. When it comes to the health sector, how does Women in Need also help educate those in the health sector?
Because we have introduced this new concept of one-stop crisis center in hospital. That is, the woman, a victim, can get all the services she requires in one location. This health, that I told you, domestic violence is regarded as a private hidden issue, and hospital is a place where this private issue come into contact with the public. That is the service provider, the medical officer. Then medical officer gives treatment for the physical injuries. He refers them to our Women in Need counselor for counseling. Then if she needs
legal
help to record the first statement, first complaint, we help her, and then we provide a shelter and the legal services if she needs. So then we have programs for the health sector. That maybe that medical officers are aware of the law and the intricacies, because most of the offences we have to depend on medical evidence, like rape and sexual sexual abuse, or that grave sexual abuse. So we educate them, the lower ranks, like the midwives, the nurses, because they have to be sensitive. Sometimes the women don't tell the actual cause of their injury. So if the nurse is very little bit sensitive and talk to the woman, she comes out with the story. So it helps the medical officer to give the correct treatment. So we have programs for the health sector as well, and they are integral part of the whole process of elimination of violence against women, because one person cannot do it. We have to harness the multi-sectoral interventions.
So for those watching, help is available. There is a hotline that you can call. It's 471-8585. Please take it down. If it's not for you, if it's probably for somebody you know that is in need, that's 471-8585. It doesn't hurt to just kind of mentioned in the number to them. Some people need it to know for themselves that they need help. And the gender-based forum kicks off on the 25th, which happens to be International Day on Elimination of Violence Against Women, culminating on the 10th of December, happens to be Human Rights Day. There are lots of activities. We're also calling on the gentlemen. It is also, I think, a time for you to also step up and eliminate the violence against women. And also calling on the Ma'am Sumitra actually mentioned earlier, the moms and the parents basically watching. There's no such thing really as a son and a daughter. It's a child, and they should be looked at equal levels and of equal importance. We have to sometimes really not think, I have a son, I have a daughter. You have a child. It's a child that needs to be educated and everything, and taken care of. And before we officially end, let me just remind you, it's also the 90s of the 90s on Sri Lanka's #1, Yes 101. So please do listen for great music from the 90s, and the party happens on Friday. Thank you, ma'am, for coming today.
Thank you very much.
Sumitra Fernando from Women in Need. And with that, we'll close today's show. We'll see you guys tomorrow and more of GMSL.